it on YouTube Live as well. Well, it'll be streaming live, and then we'll have a recording afterwards.
Okay, perfect. Are you guys based in the UK as well? Are you?
I'm in the UK. Yeah. The teams from all over the world. We've got America, Canada, Europe, Asia. Yeah, so it's a big team. Okay, if you're ready to go, what do you want to call you, Lithium or?
Ben, yeah. So I can do a quick intro if you want, and then we can get stuck into it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll just do an introduction to the WellCoin Talk Twitter community. Welcome here for the AMA today with Lithium. Here to speak about the project is Ben. Lithium, yeah, we've got lots to talk about. There's 18 projects launched on the platform. We've got the Eons token and lots more. But first, if you could tell us, Ben, a bit about the core team and background and experience, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah, not a problem. So the core team, we go back quite a long way. Tom and Jake. So Tom is the product guy. He has known Jake, our finance and sort of legal guy, since they were children at school. I met Tom at university, where we lived together, got quite invested in the Web3 space, and always sort of planned to work on a project together. After university, we all went our separate ways. All of us worked in sort of startups. Tom on the product side of things, obviously, myself in operations, and Jake has run sort of liquid asset management books for hedge funds and VCs since his time at uni. Tom's background is chemical engineering. Mine is a standard business degree where I did sort of the finance, economics, ops. That's kind of a mixed bag. And then Jake has a master's in economics. So we came together in back end of 2020, and we were looking at sort of inefficiencies in the traditional equity crowdfunding and the existing IDO Launchpad experience. I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with the ICOs, IEOs, and IDOs, and the progression from one to the other. And then that's when we decided to form Lithium to really democratize the process, bring additional value to the investors, and also accelerate the whole concept of ownership within Web3. So yeah, started that off in early 2021, and now we're here.
Awesome, Ben. And I think, you had an introduction for the community investors about Lithium. That'd be great.
Sure. So Lithium, in essence, is a crowdfunding platform that uses a tokenized structure. So a lot of you guys might be familiar with other IDO launchpads in the space. We operate on a very similar premise to them. However, we're trying to focus on essentially providing founders, their earliest users, as well as capital. So our community are super engaged in the early stage process, the early growth process, and the users themselves get involved with developing the products of the founders, giving them early feedback, which is, as a founder, invaluable, as anyone that's sort of started a business will know. And what we try and do is provide deeper liquidity than the equity crowdfunding and accelerate this concept of ownership within Web3. So whereas if you go on Kickstarter or Seeders or Republic, you are a speculative investor, you contribute X amount into a pool, you buy equity in a business, and then you don't do anything for years. Whereas the businesses that we're trying to fund and connect investors with, we want you to be engaged. You're not the product anymore. You are an owner. You're shared ownership. And the concept is, as these businesses scale, people that are invested in it and using the product are going to actively do better in terms of income, whether it be passive or direct, as the business scales. So yeah, that's what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, awesome, Ben. And what are you doing different to other launchpads to attract investors and projects onto your platform?
So I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with us. Lithium, when it started, what we did is we bootstrapped the project. So we haven't had any external funding yet. We're a small team, and our core focus is on community. We want to create as much value for the community as possible. So in the sense that we want to bridge Web2 users from equity crowdfunding to the Web3 on-chain sort of transaction and structure, we have created the most frictionless platform that you can use. So if you go to any other Launchpad, you will need to buy their token, you need to stake it, and the allocations you get are disproportionate to the amount they require you to buy and stake. So, I mean, if any of you familiar, just to name one, like BSC pad, back in the day, when we were testing all the competitors, we had to buy $20,000 worth of pad, stake it for, I think, what was equivalent to a $35 allocation. So that's just completely undemocratic. It's against the ethos of decentralization and something that we want to change. What we've done is we've taken apart the entire user journey and we've made it into 3 steps. You need your non-custodial wallet. You then need to KYC, again, in a non-custodial element. So you associate your ID with the wallet, and then you can get into our pools, whether that be with Fiat, Apple Pay, Google Pay, USDC, however you want to do it. There's so many options. It's entirely frictionless. And then we have the loyalty scheme, which essentially is the same as the other launch pads, whereby you buy our token, stake it, you get discounts, passive income, project gains, USCD bonuses. So there's different things, but the core focus is frictionless. So we've made the steps as easy as possible.
See, Ben, yeah, and you've got project rewards in the form of native tokens for projects that launch on the Launchpad, which I think is a great idea for investors.
Yeah.
Go into details about.
Yeah. So we at Lithium we come across a lot of decks, as you can imagine, for projects that want to launch with us, and 90% of them, as is quite popular in the crypto space now, since it had that explosion sort of back end of 2020, is Ponzi-nomics. Like, teams don't really think about the long-term viability and sustainability of their projects, and they give all these rewards in airdrops of their own token, etc., creating like exceptional sell-side pressure. What we've really tried to nail down with Lithium is the demand side and the supply side. So where can we incentivize our users to buy the token? Where can we reward them for holding, and how are we going to reward them? So there's a few streams in which users can earn money by being part of the Lithium Plus loyalty scheme. Firstly, there is a buy and sell transaction tax, which is variable, and we've modeled it on some game theory, which fluctuates between 8 to 12%. And a portion of this is distributed to holders on 2 cycles. So one is an epoch of every 8 hours, and the other cycle is done by a percentage of market cap when the volume traded is hit. Secondly, you get the passive income stream from anyone who isn't a Lithium Plus member. So if you're coming onto the website, you see a pool you want to invest in, and you invest in without holding ions and staking ions, you pay a platform fee. And currently, 100% of the platform fee is distributed to people that hold our token. So they get that reward in USDC. The other reward I was talking about in the cycles, that's given in ions. And then we have another one whereby every project launches via our platform, we take another 5% of the tokens that we raise on the pool, and they're distributed to Lithium Plus holders as well. So there's 3 ways which you can generate a passive portfolio: in ions, in USDC, and in the projects we launch. So we think it works quite well, and it doesn't create too much sell-side pressure on the ions because we have a buyback mechanism involved as well.
Okay, I see. And just going into, you're actually on the Polygon chain there. You migrated Lithium's ecosystem and token there. I was wondering why you decided to do that.
So, yeah, good question. When we started out, Binance Smart Chain was probably one of the more immature blockchains, but it was experiencing the most amount of hype and exponential gains for a lot of investors that were going into these projects. It's super easy to build on, really accessible, low fee. So we went with BSC, and that was our niche. When we started looking further afield and looking at the longevity of the project and how we can best facilitate and support our investors and our founders, Polygon became the obvious choice. So we spent a few months essentially preparing for a migration, and now the entire platform is run on Polygon, and we have a good relationship with the team at Polygon. We received the grant early to start the migration, and we feel that the wider macro sort of outlook for Polygon as one of the top L2s, if not the top L2, is perfectly suited for our community. There's fast transactions, low cost, high throughput, and there's a serious amount of development on chain. So it stands for easy access, as a lot of people use it. And then the other side of things, the best thing. So everyone who comes onto our project, they can claim the tokens they bought via our dashboard, and whether it be on Solana, Polygon, Ethereum, Binance, you can claim those in your native chain to a wallet that is associated with your Polygon wallet, so your EVM wallet. So that's slightly different, but again, this is all to do with the frictionless stuff. So there's only one place you need to go to interact with any project that you purchase tokens in.
Super. And then, yeah, can we go into the IONS token staking? You have staking tiers. I think there's 4 tiers, and the staking rewards through charging cycles.
Yes. So the tiers, I think there's 6 tiers. We extended it from 4 to 6 because there was feedback from our community that there was significant sort of gaps between one tier to another tier. So we filled them in to make sure that people are able to get the most out of Lithium Plus for their sort of level that they want to buy in at. The tiers deliver different rewards. So EVP90 gets exclusive rewards in the forms of USDC, and then all the other tiers will get certain rewards. You can see this if you go to our website. Go onto the Lithium Plus page, and all the tiers in detail there. And why we've created the tiers is we want to appeal to different levels of investor, but we don't want anyone to miss out. So all the rewards are proportioned and rationalized towards what you hold and what you can buy, because we see that, you know, it's unfeasible and viable to ask someone to invest $20,000 for a $35 allocation. It doesn't make any sense. So we've made these variable tiers, which will change over time according to token price, volume, market cap, etc. So yeah, we think it's the most easy, accessible, fair way for people to buy into Lithium and own their membership program, essentially. So it's not like a Tesco club card. You own this membership program, this loyalty scheme. So you buy it, you stake, you interact with our platform. In the future, when the business is scaling and demand is overtaken, you'll be able to sell your membership scheme if you so wanted to at a profit. So there's other ways you can monetize Lithium Plus.
Okay, great, Ben. And how does it work for investors in oversubscribed private sales?
So currently, this is the thing that I think we were the first sort of platform to do this oversubscription logic. Usually investors see first come, first serve. But again, we as founders and people that want to democratize the space found this to be, again, entirely undemocratic. It's how fast your fingers on the mouse, how stable is your internet connection. It's unfair. So what we've done is we've baked in this over allocation logic. And for investors, this means depending on your tier, how much you're investing, when the raise amount goes over the hard cap, you will be refunded instantly in USDC, retaining a proportion of your investment. So this, again, varies tier by tier. The more you've staked in Lithium Plus, the higher amount of your allocation in percentage you're going to keep. However, we are looking at, again, remodeling this allocation logic. So we're always trying to innovate. We're always trying to make it more fair, more suitable, and more stable in the long term. So yeah, watch out in the next couple of weeks. You probably have an announcement about some development around the over allocation.
Cool. And then how do raises work on the Launchpad, on the Lithium Launchpad?
So again, we've tried to model the raise structure is a mix between the traditional equity markets and the sort of intrinsic Web3 alternatives that you see on all the other launchpads. What we're doing now is we're going for longer raise times to allow more people to get in and appeal to more users, because now that people can come in and pay on the debit or credit card or Apple Pay, etc., we want to hit as many users as we can and run it more like a Kickstarter campaign, a Seeders campaign. So now you're going to be seeing raises of 1 week, 2 weeks, and this allows investors to ensure they have the liquidity to get into the pool, as well as sort of be able to try and read the markets and make sure they're getting at the right time for them. So yeah, if you come over again to the site, to our FAQs, this is all explained, and you can see the reasons why we're doing it and the rationale behind why we feel it benefits investors.
Okay, then, cool. And how does it work for investors and projects on the Launchpad? For projects, do you offer like marketing packages for the projects? And how do you go out there? You know, do you have scouts that go out looking for good projects to launch on the platform?
Yeah, so we do offer some forms of marketing and PR for the projects that we work with. However, this is optional and comes at an additional cost. So not everyone takes it and not everyone needs it. Like some of the projects that we work with, they already have large communities that we leverage for the raises. They already have a lot of hype and they're already backed by serious names in like the pre-seed and the seed round. So where we try and deliver value for the investors in terms of, sorry, what was the last bit of the question? It was around the
around the marketing packages projects, but I think you can help that, and how it works for projects. Do you go out and have scouts going out?
That's it. So in terms of scouts for deal flow, as you can imagine, when you're a team without many connections in a space like this, it is a lot of get out there, graph, find projects that you want to launch or that would launch through you. Surprisingly, there's been sort of an inversion whereby the market downtrend has actually increased our pipeline in terms of inbound inquiries. And we feel the pipeline we've got now is one of the strongest that we have in terms of projects that are going to be longevity and deliver real value for the investors. So, I mean, if you go into the website again, you've got Niftables, which is an NFT infra play. Great team, great backers, and the whole sort of no code, low code NFT marketplace is something that we think is going to be huge when the Web2 users start coming over. We've got two massive things in the pipeline, which we'll probably be announcing, the first on Monday, the second later in the week. Again, two infrastructure plays, one around Internet of Things and the other is around decentralized payment network. So I think the projects that we're working with are getting more mature, teams are getting way more technical, and again, this is all inbound people coming to us. So the whole deal flow setup has changed significantly since we started.
See, Ben, cool. And with the EON token staking, I'm wondering if you're going to offer some sort of staking pools for projects that launch on the Lithium platform as well, and maybe NFT minting in the future.
So we have considered this, and this is something that we do get asked quite a lot. For us, we always think as a Launchpad, offering like a stable APY is something that we would never do. We feel again like the Pontonomic element of it doesn't coincide with either demand or supply. There's no parity in offering a stable APY as the business we are. It does make sense for others. In terms of offering pools for our projects, we are actually working with a previous project we've launched to facilitate this. So this will be able to be done through our dashboard as well as our partners' dashboard. And this is something that we're going to offer for all like launch projects. So you can instantly stake either IONs or the native token that you've bought via the Launchpad in order to provide liquidity and obviously any yield.
Okay, I see, Ben. And Lithium Shield Plus, that's protecting investors. Can we go into that for the community, how that works to protect investors?
Sure. So again, this is something that we've seen in the market. We're not a real innovator around this area, but the way we do it is different. So there are other sort of shielded raises, inverted commas, whereby if the price falls below the raise price, they will refund investors the remainder of their tokens or in whatever they invested. But this is again unsustainable. It doesn't have long-term longevity. If an investment falls below your investment price, it's a risk that is associated with your investment. In any traditional market, your capital is at risk. They're not your broker, your bank, your investment partner is not going to refund you if you temporarily lose money. So what we do is we have a shielded raise, which is essentially done tranche by tranche as per the vesting schedule. And if a project fails to deliver the most basics, like adding liquidity to an exchange or migrating to a different chain, and there's a real sort of internal issue that screws up people's investment, and in turn, causes them to lose a significant amount on their investment, then that's where we're like, yeah, we will refund the investors. So it's not about price performance, it's about actual things the project does, and then this is monitored by tranche as per the vesting schedule.
That's great, Ben. Yeah, and I'm wondering, when you're looking for projects, do you have someone going over the contract? Do you do KYC for the Launchpad? How does it work?
Yeah, so as you can imagine, similar to most platforms, I would hope so. We have quite a stringent DD process. So there's calls with our analyst Seb, which anyone on here that's familiar with Lithium, you'll know Seb. He does a lot of the initial calls. He gets a good gauge for the team, for the project. Is there demand for it? What's the sort of time horizons looking like in terms of adoption or delivery, etc. Then we obviously do check the audits or get them to have audits of the contracts if they haven't yet. And then, of course, like mandatory KYC. So we use KYC partners, and we take quite a lot of information to protect our investors. So this is the business registered addresses, home addresses, identification documents, bank details, and so on, just to ensure that if anything did happen that was nefarious, we're able to go to the correct authorities, and we can use all the information that we've gathered to pursue a case wherever it may be. However, I mean, we hope this is never going to happen because of the DD process that we've got in place.
So you've been great. And what partnerships are you building? Have you got like recommended auditing companies that you recommend to the projects at launch, and what services do you offer the projects on the platform? Do you metaverse sort of partnerships plan and things like that?
So yeah, we do develop partnerships. Less so recently. We've been very focused on building out the product itself and the offering to our community. In terms of the auditing, it's an unpopular opinion, but we recommend auditors that we've worked with that aren't Hacken or Certic. The reasons being, Certic has a huge lead time and is incredibly expensive for essentially the same service you get elsewhere. Yes, they've got Skynet and a few other things, but unless you're a massive DeFi protocol, do you really need the sort of live security monitoring that offers? Hacken we have used in the past, but when you as like sort of best practice, you get a smart contract audited 2 to 3 times. Hacken hasn't picked up the vulnerabilities that others have. So there are partners that we recommend to projects. I won't name them just because I don't want to be accused of being biased. But yeah, we do work with partners that we have used and tested ourselves in sort of A/B tests where we've used other auditors as well. In terms of partnerships, we do have some quite exciting stuff in the works. I can't say too much at the minute, but at the minute we are going through a raise, and off the back of that, there are a few partnerships that we feel is going to bring massive exposure to Lithium as the platform we want to be, as well as bring over a lot of the Web2 investors and really start that bridging process between taking the traditional equity investors and bringing them over to the tokenized side of Web3.
Okay, awesome, Ben. And how does it work for investors? So if I want to get involved, I would buy some EON's token, and then depending on the stake and the time period, is the lock-in periods and the tiers, you would get so many allocated tokens in the projects that launch on the platform.
Sure. So sort of as I went over earlier, you actually don't need to buy EON's token. It is not mandatory. The way we feel the decentralized launch space and raise space should be is anyone should be able to access an investment per their regulations according to their jurisdictions if they want to. So once you pass KYC, there is no requirement or prereq to buy ions. You can come on, you can pick a pool, pick a raise of a project you're interested in, and pay with fiat, with tokens in your non-custodial wallet like MetaMask or Apple Pay or Google Pay, whatever it may be. If you want to benefit from the fees that are accumulated from these non-token holders and from the trading volume and from the other ways that you earn passive income, such as project rewards, then yes, buy ions, stake ions, and you will get these benefits: the passive income, the zero fees, etc. But no, it's frictionless. You don't need to hold our token.
Okay, I see that. And what are the profits from the Launchpad go towards? Does it like buyback and burns on the Eon token and marketing for the Launchpad?
Yeah, so at the minute, as you can imagine, like Launchpads aren't the most marketable venture in the space. The demand is slipped. You know, you're marketing a long time horizon investment to investors that maybe have a shorter time horizon than traditional investors. So we don't focus too much of our time and money on marketing. We have user acquisition strategies that we will implement after we raise, and these are going to be focused more organic, more on chain than your usual crypto marketing agencies or PR agencies that we feel don't really deliver any value unless it's a bull market, and in which case do you really need them? So yeah, the profits, they mainly go back into the tech. So everything we've raised so far, we reinvest into the business. Like I say, we have no external funding, and we're a small team of 4 with 4 additional developers, so 8 in total. And all of our money goes back into the business. We want to be the best tech-driven crowdfunding platform in the space, and we don't want to come across as like some of these other guys with a really short-term investment horizon. They just want to make as much money off their community as possible and then exit the market or do whatever they do. We're here for the long term, and tech, and product is our main focus.
I see, Ben. Great. And what's the marketing plans over the next, say, quarter? Are you planning for the Launchpad and the Eons token to get more investors on the platform?
Yeah, so we have some quite novel uses of NFTs, and we're also building out a machine learning engine called Johan. So what this is going to do, it's going to basically scrape data on chain, whether it be an EVM compatible chain or otherwise. And what we're going to start doing is we're going to really understand what these wallet addresses are doing. Like, what platforms do they interact with? Are they more DeFi focused? Are they more GameFi focused? Are they buying GameFi tokens but not doing in-game transactions? Like, what's their outlook? What's their time horizon? What's their sentiment?
I think we've lost Ben there. Maybe he's lost connection there. Let's just wait for him to come back. Unless he's forgot to unmute his mic. We can't hear you, Ben. Everyone was just waiting for Ben to come back. I think he might have lost his connection, or we'll wait for him to come back on the call. Oh, are you back, Ben?
Oh, sorry, did that drop off?
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Apologies. Where did I get to? Where did you hear up
to? It was probably about 45 seconds ago. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Just briefly on the Johan, the use of NFTs, depending on what sentiment we derive from wallet address activity, we're going to drop them NFTs. It will give them certain benefits or discounts or cashback or free NFTs in the project, etc. And that's going to be our main source of acquisition. We feel that we've seen different schemes done like this in the space, but nothing that's driven by ML and sentiment analysis, and it's going to be quite a unique model for us.
Okay, great, Ben. And how have you been coping with the bear market? If you had more time with the core team to come up with ideas for the future, ready for the next bull market, Whalecoin Talk is so busy in a bull market, so it has given us time to sort of breathe and yeah, come up with great ideas to expand our company. How are you looking to expand the Lithium Launchpad?
Yeah, so I mean, as you can imagine, with any project, everyone's been implemented. You've seen some of the biggest protocols or projects go under, or biggest investors. But this we feel is just from sort of mismanagement of treasury, being overexposed on trades, or not understanding derivatives properly. So what we've done is we've got a stable treasury. We've taken our LP from Matic into USDC to protect our investors from any more sort of downturn. And when the wider macro sentiment improves, we're going to put it back into Matic so they get that additional upside as well when the LP grows. In terms of the actual sort of team and the business, like we understand markets are cyclical. From the mad rush and exponential growth we saw in 2021, sort of the first half at least, we knew there's going to be a downturn. We've planned for it. We've got this raise coming up that we're doing at the minute, and everything we're doing is going to be done whether it's a bear market or bull market. We operate a very lean methodology at Lithium, and we're very reactive and responsive to market conditions. So it's not been a concern for us at all.
Okay, awesome. And how does the Launchpad work for investors? Is there like an emergency feature where you can withdraw your money if you change your mind investing in a project? And there's a small amount of tax if you don't buy the EON token. Is it 5% to participate in?
So yeah, so in terms of if you can withdraw your money, so if the raise is oversubscribed, your refund is instant. That's all on chain. When the pool closes, you come to the pool, you can claim your refund, and that's all instant. Once you have ticked the terms and conditions box and I acknowledge this is investment, capital is at risk, etc., at that point, it's if you want to withdraw your money, it unfortunately doesn't work like that. The same with any other investment platform. You can't invest in something and then change your mind. And with the IONS token, it's what was the question about the IONS?
Oh no, yeah, I was just saying if you didn't use the IONS token, there is a small tax
there is. So we call it service fee, and this varies. So the standard is around 10% on top of your investment for using Lithium without having to buy the loyalty scheme. But we do partner with projects, etc., whereby if you're on the whitelist, that service fee is usually knocked down to around 5%. So I think it's something we have explored with you guys, and it's something that we can look to offer your group in future, whereby they don't need to buy IONS, but they can come to our platform and get reduced service fees if there is something your community vote for that they're overwhelmingly wanting to get involved with.
Okay, awesome, Ben. And where's your community mainly based? Is it Twitter, Discord, Telegram? Where do you all hang out?
So we mainly hang out on Telegram. That's probably the most active sort of place whereby people have conversations, ask the team questions, hold us to account, let us know if we've missed the deadline. So if you want to get involved with the rest of the guys, Telegram is probably your best bet. Twitter, we do announcements every day. So we have daily rituals. So Tuesdays investor updates, Thursdays product updates, Fridays community rewards. Friday is also all the products being pushed to production, so you see these updates live on the site. So yeah, we're active on all of them. Discord's probably our least active. We find that's better with games or really engaged sort of protocols. So it's not something we've leveraged so far. But yeah, Twitter and Telegram for sure. If you guys want to come over and join and ask any questions, we're active on both of those.
Yeah, see Ben. Yeah, let's open it up to the rest of the team. If anyone's got a question for Ben at Lithium, go ahead.
Sounds good.
Let's see who we've got. I've got Acti here yet. I'll just unmute him. It might just take a second, I think, for it to come through. Okay, I've unmuted you there, Acti. It sometimes takes a second, yeah.
Oh yeah,
there
there we go. Yeah, I was still muted. I was listening in, and I'm familiar with a lot of Launchpad, and Lithium is certainly one of the ones that I like the most. You have a different way of doing things, and I think it can be super beneficial for everybody. But I'm wondering about the onboarding process, right? You've talked about getting requests and sort of like the vetting process. So say somebody has ticked all the boxes, they have the teams, the utilities, everything to be onboarded to the platform. I'm wondering what kind of what's the fee structure like? Do you go case by case with each project? Do you consider their size, their required raised amount? How does that work?
Sure, yeah, no, good question. So the fee structure is variable. If a project is raising more money, the fee comes down. If they're raising less money, the fee tends to be higher. Again, if they're incredibly hyped, the fee will likely be lower because we don't need to do as much marketing our end. If they're not as hyped, then the fee will be higher. But this is again case by case and agreed with the projects. And again, some of this fee that we take goes into sort of the buybacks and the community rewards. So whatever happens, the stakers on the Lithium Plus are always benefiting, regardless of whether the fee is the low end or the high end.
All right, yeah, that sounds fair. I imagine something like this. So yeah, thank you.
No worries, thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question, Actia. Let's move to investor questions. I think I've unmuted Venice. Are you there, Venice? You've got a question for Ben at Lithium. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Glenn. Okay, I have a couple of the questions to ask from the team. So here's my first question. I was wondering that for your education platform, do you take any proposals from experienced trainer to work with you guys to conduct workshops or create informative contents to educate the community?
Do you mean, do we collaborate with sort of external parties to make educational content, or do we do it ourselves?
Yeah, with some parties or with some individuals volunteering to work with you, or you hire some kind of professionals to make educational contents for you guys.
So if you guys go to our Medium, we actually churn out a ridiculous amount of content for 4 people. We've just started a new publication called Synthesis, and this is our thought leadership publication. So anything project related goes on Future Ventures. I can drop it in the link in the Whale Talk group after this. And then we actually do a lot of KOL sort of thought leadership around concepts or things that we think are going to be big in future. And we do that on now a publication called Synthesis. So we're hugely active in like publishing educational materials, and this is something that's actually at the core of Lithium. We want to engage investors, educate them, tell them why what they're investing in is so important. So we haven't really collaborated outside of Lithium, but it's something that we do churn out ourselves.
Okay, and it's really awesome. And it got me thinking while I was surfing through your white paper. You really have great plans for the community as well. But it is possible that any project can rug pull at any moment, and we have seen these type of situations in crypto space. But most of the launch pads only make the identities of the project owners public, but they don't follow up. So what is your plan if any of the project scams or rug pull? How much you will follow up to that project?
Yeah, so I think we touched on this earlier, but basically we do quite extensive DD. Every project, even if anonymous to the investors, we know their backgrounds, their bank details, their identities, and this is all verified on our KYC partner. And then, of course, if anything like terrible happens, like an exit scam or they pull liquidity and run off, then it's going to be the standard process of going to the relevant authorities and basically pursuing it that way. But again, this is another reason why shielded raises happen. If the funds that are raised are delivered tranche over tranche for say 6 months or 12 months, then if the project does die and the founders run off with everyone's cash, or well, theoretically run off with everyone's cash, we can just refund everyone what's left essentially. So whilst also pursuing them through the relevant channels.
Okay, got it. And one last question from my side. I was also thinking that do you guys have planned to take the launching project tokens as a fee for using your Launchpad? And if yes, then do you hold the tokens for some period of time and then give these tokens back to the project owner for some BUSG or for BNB so that their chart is healthy?
No, so the majority of projects we work with market makers that have the technology, the means, liquidity to do this already. It's not something that we offer, as it's outside our field of expertise, and we just kind of focus on the core product that we're offering to investors and founders. We don't see the value in making them buy ons and then dump them on the market at a potentially higher price, because that harms investors. So we just use the raise fees. We take some of that to reinvest into the business, and some of that will get put into the fund for buybacks and rewards at a later date.
Okay, understood. And thank you so much for answering all my questions.
Okay, thank you for the questions, Venice. Next up for Ben at Lithium is Captain Levi. He had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. Am I audible?
I can hear you.
All right. So, initially, I actually heard you talking about AI incorporation into your projects for web scraping. Inconsistency of information usually happens with web scraping. For example, the peculiarity or the precision of the web scraping may become insufficient. After the web scraping has occurred, is there a team in place to analyze this data to ensure that it is completely relevant data that is actually used to process this information?
Yeah, good question. So the actual tech stack behind the machine learning engine is, like I said, proof of concept earlier, but it's something that we're going to be developing after we finish our funding round. And then again, with that, we're doing a few hires, one of them being a data engineer. We already have a couple guys on the team that can build the tech and deliver it. But then, like you said, we need people to be able to guide the machine learning, what the data points that we want to touch, how do we analyze them, how do we weigh them in terms of the algorithm, and who we want to give these sort of incentives to join the raises. But yeah, so this is something that we've covered. It's in the long-term plan and the roadmap. And yeah, data engineers and machine learning engineer are two of the key hires that we'll be making in the next couple of months.
All right. Okay. So I'm currently on your white paper. Yeah, I understand the answer to the question. So I guess we must probably be using a supervised learning model. So my next question is concerning the problems and solution. And one of my problems is lack of capital for talented funding teams. Where I saw that your solution, you can actually run crowdfunding raises for this particular project if it looks very promising. Now, when these crowdfunding projects are actually raised, what is in it for those who actually donated funds to run the crowdfunding?
So the projects go through multiple funding rounds, right? So they go to VCs, they go to angels, and they will be your pre-seed, your seed, etc. They'll be getting in earlier with longer lockups, and they do bigger tickets. We give the retail guys a chance to get in for anything from seed, to be honest, to public. And what that enables you guys to do is choose when you want to get into a project, how long you wanted to be locked up, and it allows you to balance your risk profile on your portfolio. So whether you're in a yield farming on a stable, and then you come into our model, which is almost like VC but for retail, it allows you to diversify your portfolio according to your risk appetite. What we do, the founders that we raise capital for, a lot of the money we raise, they put into LP, or they put into product development, or they put into marketing. So they have different use cases and different requirements for the capital raised. But what we try and actively encourage is that our investors get involved in the projects we raise for. So we did one recently, Lunify. 80% of the investors that went through our platform are now users of their products. They've staked, they're earning passive income through Lunify, they're engaging on the platform, they're using the product. And this is something that we feel is missing in traditional equity markets. Like, no one can go into a project on Kickstarter and immediately become an owner and earning from day one. They're tied up for years in equity, and they may never even realize a return. So this is the core difference, and this is the message that we're really trying to get across. The people that are investing in our pools are the owners, the users, the testers, the product feedback. So, hello, yeah, sorry, I was answering, but yeah. So that's what we try and encourage from the investors and the capital that we raise.
Yeah, can you hear me, please? Am I audible enough?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Okay,
Jibanga.
I'll ask the rest of my
I have a question.
One second, Jibanga. Just let Captain Levi finish, and then we can unmute you for question.
All right. Sorry about that. Well, you just answered my question. So I'll ask the rest of my questions in your Telegram group. Great project. I'm wishing you guys the best. Over to you, Glenn.
Okay, thank you for the questions, Captain Levi. Yeah, Jibanga, you have a question for Ben at Lithium. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello, Jibanga. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much, brother. I'm sorry, my Twitter almost misbehaving. I just actually recovered it. Thanks for the opportunity. I think this is a great project, which I'm actually happy to have been in the midst. My question goes to us. Going through your white paper, I see that you will be having three main core things, which is on the white paper. You're having the Launchpad, the incubator, and the community. I'm just kind of curious. I have some questions with the Launchpad. Different projects having different Launchpad for cryptos. So I'm just kind of curious that what advantage when it comes to using of your Launchpad compared to other Launchpad community that exists now. No, you have a lot of Launchpad that make names. So what do you think your own Launchpad will have a competitive advantage that will make investors or crypto owner to come to your platform for projects?
Sure. So similar to, I think, what one of the guys asking questions earlier said, we do everything differently. We've never been one to copy the crowd and follow the herd. We look to innovate and we look to solve problems. So our main standpoint is we basically, between your traditional Launchpad and your traditional equity crowdfunding platform, we're looking to engage users that want to use the project. We're looking to safeguard investments. We're looking to provide liquidity for investors outside of the equity crowdfunding. And we're looking to educate the investor, whereas we're not there to just drive hype for a vaporware gaming project that is never going to create a game, and you're never really going to be able to play it, earn income, or realize the potential of the project that you've invested in. So we're not here to just drive short-term marketing hype. We're here to accelerate the adoption and ownership within a Web3 space, and I think that's a key differentiator. Like, everything we've done is transparent. We build in public. We churn out education pieces. And we're a fully doxed team of 4, and we've been here for a year with no external funding, and there's a reason why we have an engaged community that trust and believe in us. So that's what we're going to keep doing. When we raise, we're going to be able to scale this model, and it's going to be a larger community, and there's going to be better projects, and there's going to be more opportunities for everyone. But yeah, we do everything in public. We're there to educate, we're there to build, and we're there to solve problems. And this is why other launchpads have copied our over allocation logic. This is why other launchpads are copying our refund logic. This is why other launchpads are copying things we do. We may not be the biggest, we may not be the most popular, but we're there to innovate and we're there to change how things are done. We want to solve problems and create the equilibrium whereby the investor and the founder are both benefited as much as they can be.
Okay, fantastic. I must say with you, you really have a great plan and the concept there, because the reason why I asked the question is I've seen a Launchpad in crypto space that offer insurance for investors and for crypto owners. You know, stuff like that, we actually consider that as more competitive edge, because cryptos owners will feel more comfortable going to a platform where they have insurance. You know, probably if I invest in the crypto and I don't know there's rock pool on the project, I have like 90% assurance that I will get at least 60 to 70% of my token. That's the reason why I asked the question. Maybe you have this kind of plan, stuff like that into your own corporate system.
Sure. So outside of the shielded raise, we are actually talking with a Web3 insurer at the minute on how we can actually effectively insure people's investments. Currently, the insurance offerings on the market aren't what we're looking for. They're not as well funded as we want them to be. They insure offerings and protocols that we think are quite shady or illiquid or super high risk. But yeah, this is something that we're looking at. And it's probably going to be featuring in the roadmap sort of back end of this year.
Okay, perfect. Then lastly, I actually heard you talking about education, which is actually very, very important in crypto space. We can't do without education. But when we're referring to education in crypto space, we just have to take into consideration because most of community take English education, English projects as English alone. We actually don't focus on some communities that doesn't speak English language, like all these Chinese, Spanish community and other local communities that English is not even their major language. How do you intend to educate them, probably from little video of great features you have in your project, stuff like that? Do you have this plan to help in all these people?
Yeah, so currently we have the one Telegram group, but we have bilingual, trilingual moderators and team members. So whether you're Italian, Spanish, Arabic, Hindi, there's a few languages that we currently cater for. In terms of getting all of our content put into these other languages, it's quite a time-consuming and like costly process. So we're not quite there yet. But as we scale up and the user acquisition increases, this is going to be something that we will be doing, and there will be separate groups according to your sort of geographical location. So that is something that is coming up. But at the minute, we have a really sort of comprehensive mod team that are able to answer questions in the most popular sort of spoken languages.
Okay, great. Thanks for the questions, Jabenga. Let's move on. Let's see. Sophie. I'll approve Sophie to speak. It might take a few seconds. Hi, Sophie. Are you there? You got a question for Ben at Lithium? No? Okay. Well, moving on. Yeah. If we can just do a recap, Ben, for anyone that's joined the Twitter Spaces late today and might have missed the first half of the AMA, we can do a recap on the Lithium project, the Launchpad, and the token.
Sure. So just a quick recap.
Yeah, a recap for any investors that missed the first half of the AMA. Yeah, all about the project. That'd be great.
Sure. So Lithium, for anyone that has joined late, is essentially a Web 2.5 crowdfunding platform. What we do is we look to provide liquidity to investors that are looking to enter into the project raises that we offer, and at the same time we plan to educate these investors so that they're not only speculative, but they are product owners and they are engaged investors, whereby they're giving these early founding teams feedback on their product market fit, and they are able to deliver an accelerated product to market for these founders, which is crucial in the early stage space, especially something as fast moving as the Web3 industry. And what we want to do is really bridge from the Web 2 space to bring all these Web 2 investors and all this capital that is lying essentially dormant in this locked up equity crowdfunding model into this tokenized raise structure, which we are able to connect to these exciting founder teams that are really solving problems with the technology that blockchain and NFT, etc., offer, and engage them with investors that are not only going to provide them capital, but use their products and really drive the projects forward. In terms of the team, it's three guys that know each other pretty well, engineering backgrounds, finance backgrounds, operations backgrounds, banking backgrounds. So we feel we're pretty well qualified to do what we're doing. We've taken no outside investment, and we're here a year and a half later with a really engaged community, the best product we feel on the market, and it's only going to get better after the raise that we complete in the next month or so. So yeah, I think if you want to find out more, come to our Telegram. We'll post it in the Telegram on Whale Talk. And yeah, hope to see you there asking questions. Our mod team's super active, so anything you need to know will be answered.
Okay, awesome, Ben. It's been great speaking to you today from Lithium. If you click on the Lithium logo here, anyone listening into the call, you can join their Twitter. And also we've got the website, white paper and official socials in our Telegram as well, which you can get over to from our Twitter account. And as we always say, for Whalecoin Talk community investors, AMAs are for research and educational purposes. It's not financial advice. You can check out, like I said, the website and white paper. That's in our Telegram as well as on Twitter. Thank you very much for coming today, Ben. It's been great speaking to you.
Perfect. No, thank you very much for having us. Appreciate the questions, everyone. And yeah, have a good day, and I will speak to you guys later.
Okay, Ben. Yeah, take care. And yeah, I'll finish the record and send a copy over for you to share with your community, and I'll send that into our Telegram as well for anyone who wants to listen back to the call later on, and that'll be posted on our Twitter also.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. See you in a bit.